Good morning. This is my TOK presentation. My title is The Manipulation of Emotions and Morals in Ethical Situations. Okay, my situation will focus on abortion worldwide and the difference in opinion or difference in culture for the same situations. So basically, abortion is the termination of human pregnancy. So, who, what, where? Who? Every woman in the planet can come to this ordeal. When they have to make a decision to keep or get rid of their baby, every mom has to make a decision that will make them receive lots of hate, no matter the answer or backlash. Um, Let me give you an example. Single mothers are judged all the time. Another example: women who have abortion are also judged. So keeping or killing it will get eyes on you either way. Now to focus on the what. Abortion is a form of killing or nullifying the fetus in the stomach of a mother who is planning to give birth or has been impregnated. So now for the where. This happens on different places all over the world, and abortion is legal and illegal in different places as well. Some people see it as genocide, some people see it as something normal. And depending on the culture and the where, abortion is very different. So, the contextualization. Do uniform third parties or first timers critically analyze the options and legality of the situation? To what extent is the moral fight between right and wrong exaggerating to push an agenda, therefore providing misleading information? Is the emotional language used to sell an idea influencing how the receptor will act? Are the emotions of surrounding people influencing decision making? Will humans automatically assume what is right based on a cultural learning? And for the second part of the contextualization, the limits. So it's very subjective. Even similar cultures have completely different ideas. For manipulation of information, the topic brings in a lot of controversy between two sides, which is a more controversial side and a more liberal side. And choosing information to consume is dangerous because of how driven both of these sides actually are. They both have an agenda to follow or something they want to achieve, and they will be very biased. The basics can't be changed, but the language and human sciences to manipulate emotion are constantly malleable on both sides. So, my knowledge question is: to what extent are emotion and reason essential in demonstrating ethical value? My knowledge concepts are area of knowledge, which is natural sciences and human sciences, ways of knowing, emotion, language, reason, and faith, objective versus subjective, how much should feeling affect facts. This is more of how reason is made, and the lack of reliability for information. So, the role of emotion in decision making. Nitin Gandhi said, "We believe we are the makers of our own destiny, yet that isn't necessarily true when it comes to the inner true decision making ability." So, role of emotion in decision making. Again, this is based on his research, natural sciences and human sciences. Emotion affects intelligence. So when you have high feelings, that equals the same as low decision making abilities. For example, people always say, don't respond when you're angry because you're not thinking clearly. This is because of the same situation I'm explaining. For example, in the real world, marketers and socio-political entities take advantage of you and target your deepest emotions like fear, desire, aspirations to link this with their product. This is also called FOMO, which means the fear of missing out, which is something people deal with on a day-to-day basis. And this ads companies or all of this selling takes advantage of you in that way. They attempt to create a relation between yourself and their goal. So the prefrontal cortex activity decreases temporarily, and the amygdala takes over. The prefrontal cortex activity is the one that controls your reasoning, and the amygdala is the one that controls more of your emotions and feelings. Okay, objective versus subjective. I won't read every one of them, but this basically you add up objective and subjective, and that way you can have enough information to have a good reason to be able to reason on different topics. Subjective usually relates to emotion when you can only make subjective claims. Ethical value through culture. Culture affects emotion and reason. It actually influences an individual's emotional experience from the beginning, and also culture develops a similar sense of reason in a society. Ethical value through culture. Weber's theory of cultural rationalization. So, Weber explains how economic gain is a way of dealing with salvation anxiety. Depending on the economy and the perspective, it will be completely different. So, for the first real life situation related to Weber's theory, is Spain's law of abortion. The law states that there can only be abortion if there is evidence of rape or incest. And this is the perfect example for the theory, because Spain is attempting to please both sides, being affected by emotion and relating with deep issues. So it's pleasing each conservative and liberal side. So citizens have this salvation anxiety, which basically means that the ethics change because the rich want to continue being rich but have a guilt and therefore develop this condition. For the second real RLS, real life situation, is a moral dilemma. So, in relation to the past real life situation as well, two lacrosse players accused of rape based on false charges. So the supposed victim had guilt over a pregnancy due to faith and religious values, and therefore acted this way. Similar examples have happened where, because of a law like the one I mentioned before, females will accuse of fake charges, or a fake situation like incest, and to be able to have an abortion in a legal way. So emotion overtakes reason and makes people act irrationally or immorally. So the third and final RLS that is related with this, a moral dilemma. So countries like Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador ban abortion completely and create unethical situations. So because of this, women have no other way to abort. And this leads to them having to sometimes deal with unsanitary ways, maybe dangerous ways that can put them in serious danger, and definitely illegal ways. So depending on the perspective, the solutions are correct. Nevertheless, because of the values built on culture freedom, that choice is limited and people harm themselves. Weber's theory of cultural rationalization is again proven after understanding the statistics of economy in these countries. So, in comparison to Spain, these countries are not doing very good in the economic scale, or any scale for that matter. This just continues to prove Weber's theory. Applying knowledge to real life situation. Okay, the real life situations were all different yet similar in their own way. So the most significant constant is emotion, and how emotion affected all of them. The first in a positive way, but in the other two real life situations in negative ways. Every real life situation based on a country was in correspondence to Weber's theory. And it is important to note that countries with more freedom, like I said before, in the topic of abortion, or with more what's the term, salvation anxiety, are overall more successful in objective statistics in comparison to others that have a more conservative outlook in this case. So, in conclusion, ethical value was changing depending on the culture of each real life situation and emotion, and reason were essential to the creation of these morals in every different country. It is clear to understand that culture affects both emotion and reason from their roots, and both of these concepts for the ethics in the said place. These concepts not only affect specifics like abortion, but also our day-to-day life. Like, for example, emotional manipulation in ads, like I said before, FOMO, fear of missing out, or having to deal with small ethical decisions where we have to make where you need to have a good amount of reason to make a decision or a choice. Thank you for listening to me. This is the references, and yeah, thank you.